Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers pre-match show for the second game of our Champions League campaign here against Bologna at Anfield. It's me, John. You might recognize me from the morning show. If you tuned in this morning, great to have you back. But with me, of course, is the ever-present Sir Z. How are you doing, my friend? What do you think about the lineup? And let me actually bring up the lineup here. And that is not the lineup. Give me a second. Where did that go? There it is. That is the lineup right there. Courtesy of the Anfield rep, arranged in positional orders. Thank God.
Thank
So,
God.
yeah, Cersei, what do you think and how are you feeling about this lineup right here?
Hi, John. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? I kind of expected. I remember watching the morning. Well, obviously from the morning show today, and
Right.
one of the shows last night. People were predicting rotations. I just knew we wouldn't rotate. I don't. I think he just wants to get obviously with the Champions League being this format. I guess it kind of gives you a little bit of luxury to try and nip things in the bud quick. In regards to qualifying for the next stage and then maybe see a rotation towards the latter part of it. But yeah, he just obviously rotation's not in his vocabulary, and it's just going to go full strength every game until someone gets a knock.
Yeah, and we've actually kind of figured out, I mean, not figured out, but we've kind of experienced those people getting a knock in terms of like the Chiesas and the Jotas here. But you can see there off the bench, Jota is actually fit enough
Just
to
on the
at least,
bench.
yeah,
Yeah.
make the bench. So thankfully, right, given how injury prone Jota is, it doesn't look like some sort of an injury that's going to keep him out for long. That's great. Aside from Jota, though, Sergi, it's a surprise, not really a surprise, but then at least for me, was a surprise inclusion for Trey Neone there on the bench. Do you think we're going to be seeing him for like a few minutes if we manage to get the result here really quickly and wrap it up really quickly? Because if we're talking about midfield depth, right, we got Gravenberg, McAllister, Jones, Endo in those pivots. Like, it's not as deep as we would think. So there might be some situations where we might see guys like Naoni or Tyler Morton even play some games. And what do you think of that? Do you feel like he might actually get an opportunity here if we get put this to bed right away?
Um, I don't see him bringing Neone and Morton on above Jones and
And
Gakpo.
right,
And though, I think that's a little bit of a slap in the face for, for, for and our bench, barring Morton and Neone, I mean they're pretty much and Simicas, they're pretty much get into easily the top six in the Premier League, so it's I don't know. I think they're maybe just there for the experience. It's not like with Klopp. If it was Klopp, for sure Neone or Morton will be coming on, but then we'll also have a rotative team as well.
right.
So yeah, it's and unless they're like we really like pulverizing the team by half time, I don't see them coming on. And like you have to bring Gakpo and Endo and Jones on first, or even Bradley before you bring in the other two.
Right. And on the note of Gakpo, like we thought, probably him, probably Curtis Jones, maybe even Joe Gomez might be a decent shout to get into this lineup because, all due respect to the opposition, Bologna, they're a decent outfit, but probably a team that we should be beating at home and beating rather handily, especially given the strength of the squad here. So, in
Yeah.
terms of this game and Palace, and we talked about it a little bit, before the start of the show, do you think it's probably because it's the international break is coming up and there's just these last two games, so he's going like, okay, so I'm going to be putting my biggest and strongest lineup here so I could get 3 points from both instances? You think it's more that, or
Yeah.
it's
No.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm no. I think that's exactly what it is. I think barring an injuries, I think it's probably going to be the same lineup on Saturday. It's against Palace. It's uh, maybe Nunes for Jota. I mean, obviously depending on how things go today and post match in regards to injuries, but
Right.
um, just yeah. I mean, I think it's given Sabozla another like lifeline And I feel bad. I go back and it's. I
You
think
said
one of
you
you
said
guys.
earlier in the morning shows to see that you suddenly felt bad for him. Like, why do you suddenly feel
Yeah,
bad for him if you don't mind, explaining
because
it?
like, it's stupid little things. I'm so addicted to Liverpool. I literally live and breathe Liverpool, and I watch everything Liverpool, and then I watch, when they show like last week when they were doing the FIFA
Right.
release things, and I'm watching Sabazza, and he's just sitting by himself at the bar, and then and then Maka has a dig at him and saying, "Well, you only scored 2 goals last season," and like, and I was like, then I started feeling sorry for him. I think like mentally, like, and I remember back to one of the interviews he did last season, and he was saying that he's pretty much alone. Like he doesn't, apart from the players, he doesn't know anyone else in Liverpool. So then I was like, then I'm going back to, I wrote this book about mental health,
Right.
and I'm digging this guy week in, week out. Like, obviously, you can't hear me and whatever, but I just started feeling bad for him. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's, money doesn't change everything. My money doesn't make you invulnerable to like mental pressures and so forth. And he knows himself what he's capable of doing, and he knows whether he's performing or not. So, and just watching him walk off the pitch the other day, and then and I'm thinking everyone on social media is just jumping on this guy, and
Right.
we've only lost 1 game, and it's not like we've been playing with 10 players, even though sometimes it feels like we are. Okay. I can't be toxic anymore. Don't come back on me. So I'm like, all right, karma is what it is. I'm just gonna.
Well,
I'm just
I mean, it was
gonna
kind of warranted to an extent, though, Sergi. There's like obviously there's like a reasonable level of like criticism, right? Like you can criticize the
yeah,
guy, but then him as a person, he seems like a pretty chill guy at times. He seems like a friendly guy talking to everyone, making jokes with everyone. So it's just unfortunate because bar those first few months under Klopp, he's been bang average at best. Like, let's be real here. Like, I mean, there were some
yeah,
flashes here and there where he'd make a great run or make a powerful run, but it just comes so frustratingly short when he chooses the wrong pass or he actually decides to shoot from like way out. It's you feel like it's just the fact that he's letting this get to him too much instead of him just playing his game. You think there's a lot of that, or it's we're still putting it down to maybe a new system. Obviously, it's just first of all, it's just 6 games in, right, to the league,
yeah.
like and in all comps, second Champions League match day, first League Cup match day, and all that. So it's still quite early. So I guess my question is: are we overblowing it a little too much as a fan base? Like, in your opinion, the supposed I hate here.
Yeah, I think Bickler was saying the other day, it was like, we're pretty much having a perfect season in the Forest game,
Right.
and yet we still find a scapegoat to pick on. And then with Sabaz, like, you can't blame him because Slotman keeps picking him. I mean, I know my talents. I can't. I can't play football at a professional level.
Same.
But if Slot put me on the pitch, I'm going to play.
Right.
I don't care how crap I am. I'm like, okay, I'm going to play. If the manager picks me, I'm going to play, and I'm going to, give it all. I think the price tag goes against it. I think, and I've said it before. If Mika was 70 million and Sabazza was 35 million, we'd have a different conversation, and right. And we would say Maka is still a bargain at 70 million. And 35, that's kind of what you expect a 35 million pound performer to play like it was in Sabazza. But I think maybe he's doing a lot more off the ball things that we don't see, and we don't give him enough for. And I was like that with Ronaldo. It's like after the season we sold him, and we went close to doing a quad. It's like, well, we don't miss Ronaldo. I was having this argument with one of my friends, like, we don't miss him. Look, everyone's getting the quad, and it wasn't until the season after when you realize we do miss Ronaldo. Like,
yeah,
and so it's you only start missing players once they're gone. I don't know. He's an easy person to pick on, but we don't need to be. We're winning games. So yeah, yeah, I just question myself in regards to picking on him and wanting to. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, hopefully it comes good. I mean, it's like Kazi keeps saying, we're all Liverpool fans. We want our players to do well.
Yeah.
And and we win the league, or whatever, like whatever the success we get, we're just, we're going to be behind this team. So, me personally, I'm just going to back off for a couple of games anyway.
Well, let's see if you're still going to be backing off Cersei if he misses another chance like he did against the Wolves.
I don't mind the missing chances. I really, I mean, that can happen to anyone. Like, missed chances, but I mean, he's got enough credit in the bank. Mane's missed chances. He had enough credit in the bank, but it's what he does in the game. I think Kazi said it the other week, like he doesn't win any duels. All right. So
and he's a big dude. He's 6 feet tall, really fast. Like he can run like a horse. Yeah.
But like Ronaldo, maybe he's just. I think Timothy said it as well when he played Leicester. The year we won a league, he kept Leicester quiet, and it wasn't like there was no statistics to show what he was doing. But maybe he's just keeping the other team quiet on that side, and and maybe. That is why we're winning games. Who knows? I mean, obviously, start seeing something that we're not, and that's why he's in the position that he's in. And he's got the best record of any manager in the first 9 games that he's managed. We've only conceded 2 goals.
Well, someone is here to kind of balance out the Sobo discussion. Anan, what's up, my brother? It's been a long time, and it's good to see you, my man.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
How
are you, man?
I haven't seen you in a very long time.
I know, right? Like it's been a long time, but how you doing, man? And I mean, I'm assuming you saw the lineup here. First thoughts? Any
it's a great lineup?
Great lineup.
Sobo is still in. Darwin's in. I mean, you can't make my day any better, can you?
So Cersei and I were talking Anon before you come. It's like the bat signal, like with me and Gravenberg, and then we were talking about Szoboszlai and whether we were being a bit too harsh on him. And I know you're on the Sobo train, correct? Like in terms of trying to get.
I am actually the conductor. Yes.
No, you're actually I know how that feels, man. Believe me, I know how that feels being the conductor of a one-man train. But let me actually toss that question I threw at Cersei to you. Are we being a bit too harsh with Szoboszlai here? Because in terms of his work rate and what he's doing with the side on the other side of the ball, he doesn't stop running. He doesn't stop pressing. It's just not really coming off for him with the ball. So I guess my question is, are we being too harsh on the guy?
I think...
I've got...
No. Cersei, please go ahead so I can rebuttal.
Okay. So, like I was saying, personally, I am, and then that's what I said. I'm me personally. I'm going to back up when I look at the bigger picture. 9 games in, we've only lost 1, we've conceded 2. We don't know what his remit is for Slot, apart from what Socks came out the other day and said like he needs to score more or assist more. But if he's stopping that opposition attacking down the left side by just being there, then maybe he's doing his job, which Ronaldo was doing, And like I said, I personally didn't give Ronaldo enough credit until the season after we sold him. I thought, shit, we missed this guy. So maybe he's doing what Slot's asked him to do. And I guess, we just see what's on the TV and, we're not actually watching him play and we're not watching little nuances where he's stopping players run past him. And we're just expecting him every time he gets a ball to produce something. But then that comes with a £7 million price tag. You're going to buy someone like that. You expect more positive productivity rather than just being defensive. But that's not supposed to be.
And you were going to say something, Anon, before Cersei.
So we look at it in 2 ways. Going forward, we're not being too harsh on him. We would like to see more from him going forward. Chance creation, being that number 10, being that playmaker. We haven't really seen that, especially we know when he came, He's got that passing ability, the set piece ability. We haven't really seen much of that so far this season. But collectively, as a team, he clicks in with the team. They're doing everything that they're being told to do. And you can tell it's working out. Like he said, we've only conceded 2. We've played 7, only lost 1. And the club looks good. The team looks good. And I think it's a piece of the puzzle that completes each other. So you take out Sobo and you put somebody in, it may not work with Gravenberch and it may not work with McAllister. So I think he's an important piece of the puzzle. And I think we tend to have this thing where it's just cool to hate on someone every couple of months, and it goes on and on and on. So I'm glad it's less hate for Darwin. Now it's just Sobo. And I'm sure in a few weeks or in a few months, depending on what the results look like, it'll go to Konate and then we'll move to Gravenberch. So everybody's going to get their thing. But we do tend to have this thing over here, especially. And I've been in many other places and talked football in many other places. This is one of the places where we have 2 things that stand out. 1, we specifically got to hate on someone and all agree. 2, we got to say something to be very different than everybody else. And it's really the case with Sobel here. We're being a little too harsh on him, but then again, the manager said if you're going to play that position for Liverpool Football Club, you need to do more. So he's making a valid point. Everybody else jumped on the train. Everybody else hates him because he's beautiful, and of course because he looks like me. So yeah.
Absolutely. And hey, like we and Sergi mentioned before you came on, it's not like we wouldn't want the guy to perform. If he performs up to standard or even greater, so we're probably winning things this year because we still have that is some player there at age, what is he, 23, 22. Yeah. He's still got a ways to go, and as much as we're kind of slating him now, this is just kind of like this is his baby form. If he was a Pokemon, he's still in his starter evolution. He's still like a Charmander. So like he's still got that 2 more, that Charmeleon Charizard thing. My nerd is coming out. So
I don't know, brother. He's playing like Jigglypuff these days, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Brian says I don't really know what his role is in this side, but if it's a 10, then it's not the level I expected. Again, there's still a ways to go. It's early season, and hopefully as the weeks go by, he kind of finds his footing there because so far the results have been great. Anan, we talked about Luis Diaz starting here. He started on the weekend, and he's been great so far. But Cody Gakpo's been good too, right? So I guess this is Slot kind of laying down the marker in which who he possibly prefers out of those 2 guys. Because if we're looking at it at both guys, like one isn't really above each other in terms of, at least in my opinion, right? So I guess it's kind of tough. It's on Gakpo now. It's kind of harsh on him. And what's he got to do, I guess, is my question, to get into this side if he's not even being put in the starting 11 when it comes to like maybe rotation or something.
Yeah, and we talked about it on Friday. We were like, okay, Diaz is going to be the league guy. Gakpo is going to be the Champions League guy. And then today comes in and he's like, haha, psych, So it's a little confusing here. Maybe he picked up a small knock. Maybe he's not ready to play a full game. Maybe he's not ready to start. Or maybe it's time for Slot to have his little rotation where we see Gakpo start in the league at Palace. We don't know. I am gutted for Gakpo because I was looking forward to watching Gakpo today, specifically to see what he can do, and hope he comes on at the half or early on and just does his thing to cement his place, because the form he's in, it'll be really a waste to burn that form away.
Right, for sure. And Sergi, looking at the Champions League table, I'm still getting used to this massive ass format here. With so much teams and stuff. Obviously, I believe it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, here, it's the top 8 qualify outright, correct? Right. And then the remaining 16 will fight each other We'll take each other on for a spot to take on the top 8, right? So I guess my question, I'll start with you, Sergi, is how, I guess Slot is looking at these supposedly easier games and not taking any chances so we can qualify outright, you feel?
Yeah, I think he wants to get it over and done with as soon as possible. And I think we'll be in the top 3 by the end of it. But yeah, I think it just makes sense to get this done and dusted. That way, come January. Or no, when does this end? When does the league end?
Just like the regular in June. May, June, just like the normal format.
Oh, I think he means. Do you mean the league stage,
It-
Sergi?
The league stage. Yeah.
I think
Towards February.
right, towards February.
All right. So yeah, I think by January, I think he probably wants to get it done and dusted. That way, we can between all the games coming up, between League Cup games, FA Cup games, and we don't have AFCON or anything. I think we can start getting some players, and come March we can attack again, which is where we lost the league. We lost the league in March. So, post like transfer window, I think that getting it done and dusted by will help us like list some players and go for hopefully 4 trophies.
Are you as confident as Sergi on top 3? You think that's a realistic shot? I'm honestly, I'd be content with around the 8, 6, 7, 8 range, considering we have to face Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, all those guys like in our schedule.
Yeah, I'd say top 3, top 4 is pretty valid looking at it now. I mean, City are 4th with only 4 points, having only won 1 game and drew 1. So it's not looking like it's a complicated table to break into. I mean, sitting at 2nd place right now is, and I'm going to say this with a straight face, Brest. Brest are sitting in at 2nd. I can't. So yeah, I really tried. Brest are sitting in at 2nd, Dortmund at 1st, Leverkusen at 3rd, and then the likes of City and Inter and Sparta Prague are sitting 4th, 5th, and 6th with 4 points. So it's not that complicated, considering really the only 2 tough games we're going to have coming up are the Leverkusen game and the Real Madrid game. And then we go, I think, to Lille or Nice or something along those lines. Really wanted to play Brest. But here we are. So I wouldn't be surprised if we break into the top 3 or top 4 easily.
That's certainly the hope over here in terms of trying to avoid the toughest guys until maybe the later stages of the competition. Let me actually bring up a question that I asked Brian and Sergi a few weeks ago. And on, let's say I'm from the future, right? June 2025, and I tell you that we just won the Champions League. How would you be? Or how surprised would you be? Like right now, where you are, would you be massively surprised, or would you?
I would be very shocked, surprised, shocked, really happy, but also confused and how,
right?
So many emotions happening right now, because again, this is our transitional period with a new manager. We may not win the league, we may not win the Champions League, and we're not going to be like, oh man, it's the end of the world. Perform, get that top 4, show us that this club has a bright future with this manager. We'll be fine. So if you tell me we won the Champions League with competition, the likes of FC Brest, I would be very happy.
So top 4 is the goal for you this year.
Well, earlier in the season when we did the preseason show, I said we're winning the whole thing, but I'd be happy with top 4.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I felt like I was curious as to what everyone's thoughts were in terms of like, can we realistically win the whole darn thing? Because we got a pretty decent squad, mind you. We got a pretty decent squad with some world-class players still. Salah's still Salah, Virgil's still Virgil, but obviously with like the transition, as you mentioned. Sergi made a great point a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Rafa won it in his first year.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be shocking for Liverpool to win the Champions League. I don't think anyone else would be surprised either. I mean, I know, we're speaking of Liverpool fans, but we really are. We do represent the UK in terms of Europe. And no one wants to face us. Apart from Real Madrid, like, no one wants to face us. So it wouldn't surprise me, and to win the Champions League, and like I said the other day, I'd be disappointed if we come below 2nd in the Premier League this season.
Same.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're still having these conversations by March. I think March last year is when we kind of fell off the league. So hopefully we're still having these conversations by then. Well, gents, prediction time. I'll start with you, Anand. How do you see this going? Obviously, Bologna, not the strongest side to come in. Probably one of their easier fixtures here in this Champions League stage. But obviously, we still got to respect our opponent. But we have our strongest 11 out there. So how do you see this going?
A clean sheet, 2 or 3 in the net. I'd say 2-0 or 3-0. We do have that strong 11, and I do believe if this 11 goes out and performs today, every single one of them will start at Palace. So a 2-0, 3-0 comfortable win. Honestly, I think I care more about the clean sheet versus how many we score, because clean sheets are just continuing to build the team's confidence. So as long as we get the clean sheet, I'm very happy.
No need for a Darwin goal there if he doesn't score.
I mean, don't get me started. I think I'll take a Szoboszlai goal over a Darwin goal just because
Really?
I'm very sad for him and how mean everybody is. But I think this is a Darwin kind of game, so he'll get him like a header or something. 2-3-0, one for Sobo, one for Darwin, and just for shits and giggles, one for Diaz. Why not?
Yeah, good stuff. I'd love a Darwin goal as well because it looks like with Jota, like he's on the bench, but he might be carrying something. So anything that boosts Darwin's confidence, because he's probably going to be starting at that 9 for at least the next game. And if he performs these 2 games, maybe when we come back from the international break against Chelsea, he's probably leading the line there. So yeah, hopefully a Darwin goal, hopefully a Sobo goal as well. Sergi, where do you see this going in terms of scoreline and scorers if you want to predict those 2?
Score same as a non 2-3-0. I don't know how Bologna are going to come out and play. I haven't really watched them. I've just seen them. I know they're not doing good in the league. So this should be formalities, but that's what we thought about Forest, and look what happened. So, but yeah, I'm wanting Szoboszlai to have a huge game just for himself. Forget everyone else, just for himself, just so he can walk off with with his head held high. And obviously Nunes, I'd like him to score. He won't be going to international, thank God. So, he can play the next 2 games and rest. So, yeah, I just want a performance from everyone, but more so for Szoboszlai, just for his own self-confidence.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my prediction earlier this morning of 3-1, and I'm going with the 2 scorers that Anand mentioned. I'm going for 2 goals for Darwin, because I really want him to kind of get off and running. He started off well against Bournemouth, that screamer, like in typical Darwin Núñez fashion. So this is the kind of opposition where he could possibly be feasting here. But if there's nothing else, gentlemen, please appreciate you guys going on here talking pre-match with me. For those watching, there will be a post-match, but not with me. I think it's Timushin who's going to be hosting it with some other contributors. But as always, we appreciate you here. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and all that. We really appreciate your support. It goes a long way. We're at 320 plus. 930 plus subscribers. I don't know where I got 300. Jeez, what do I think?
Well, must have been really bad. Take lost us all those
really bad. We lost like 2/3 of our subscribers like after one show. But yeah,
Vickler must have been on.
We're at 930 now, trying to reach 1,000 by realistically Thanksgiving. But someone here set a stretch goal for Halloween. I don't know if that's a realistic goal, but of course, all the support.
And also, I'm not shaving until Szoboszlai has a man of the match performance. So for the love of Jesus, do something.
If by January people tune into the Friday show and Anand has a beard that's thicker than Jesus Christ's beard, then it's been a minute since Sobo had a good performance. So, gentlemen, thank you again. And for all those watching, thank you. And we'll see you in the post-match show.
Enjoy.
Take care.